1, 2, 3, let's go.
Wednesday afternoon, hoping you will tune into our show.
But why do we think that children have that within them, from when they are born? Once they can learn to speak, they have this kind of self-centeredness about them. What do you think about that, Cuz?
Again, it boils down to the inclination. So there's the years of innocence, right? So that, obviously, as a child, is harmless, it's powerless. It hasn't really developed any brain capacity. The first things that it develops is, to eat or to cry or survive or whatever. But once that child starts becoming or start coming to that age where they're able to discern things, no matter how simple or basic those things are, that's where the badness starts. It just starts from there. But like Jerome said, the environment. So they have to conform to the environment. No, you can't do that. No, you can't have that. No, you can't hit your brother. No, you mustn't bite. Don't bite your brother. And that's where the training starts. Take all that training away, you have a beast there. It's just a beast.
So going back to your first points about everybody being very negative and bad and so on, do you not think once we are trained and we have a positive environment, if we do, as most people I'm sure do we not see a lot of actions in a lot of people which are at the top end of the spectrum, where they're risking a lot of things? They put themselves out to help other people. Do you not think that's a main part of humanity as well?
Jerome, we're going to say goodbye to Jerome now.
Okay, cheerio, Jerome. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining.
Thanks for joining.
Take care.
So to answer your question, bro, so that when you're talking about when they are trained, right? Now it depends on how that training has to be ongoing. It has to be ongoing, because the inclination of the heart of this little child is to do something bad. It might not necessarily want to do it. So people do respond to training. Yes, people do respond to training, and that's where it all changes. That's where everything changes. But you take that training out of the equation, you have a beast. You have a beast, or you train that beast in the way it's inclined to go. You have a very dangerous beast. So that's why I said our inclination from birth is evil. It is. It's the training that helps us to control those thoughts, the bad thoughts, it helps us to curtail some of the actions, the bad actions that we're meant to take. It helps us to curtail in training. So we need that training. We need that training. So if you had a child that is brought up in a war-torn zone, right? And all this child sees is killing and people handling guns, and that child's not going to know any better unless you then train him otherwise. You have a killing.
1, 2, 3, let's go.
Wednesday afternoon, hoping you will tune into our show. It's hosted by Cuz. He'll introduce the gang who'll make the show go with a bang. With fun.
You have a killing machine there, because that's all he knows. That's all that child knows, and that's all that child wants to do. So we are not built, or we're not made to be good. We're made to be evil, but then the training, we need that training. If we don't get it, if we just beasts.
Yeah, I feel. I mean, fair enough. That's an opinion, but I feel to say we're evil at birth. I feel that is quite a negative assessment of humanity. As we say, there's good things in humanity. There's very good things, and just to perhaps the story that comes to mind that I was looking at the other day about the high end of the spectrum. There was a man, and this goes back, the actual date of this event was the 1st of August 2009, and it was in America. I think it was in Utah, and it was a parachute company where this company would offer tandem parachutes, an experience to people tied to an experienced parachutist. And this is what happened. Now, there's this guy there, I think he was the top man, one of the top parachutists and trainers for the others. His name was David Hartsock, and he was a good man in many ways. He did this and he enjoyed every day. He would do, 5, 6 parachute jumps with somebody tied to him, and it was like clockwork. He'd been doing it for a few years, and he'd done many thousands of jumps quite successfully. Well, on this particular day, on the 1st of August 2009, he thought he'd finished his number of people for the day. He'd safely brought down 6 or 7. And then as he was going to his car, the guy who sort of was in the machine, in the room where they organise it all, he said, look, there's a lady who's just turned up. A lady by the name of, I can't remember now what her name was, Shirley. That's right, Shirley. And she really wanted to do a parachute jump. So, David was asked, will you do that? We just one last one. And David thought, well, yeah, of course I will. And he went and introduced himself to the lady. So they got ready. Long story short, they got into the aeroplane, which was then taken off. And they were, tied together, as is the case on parachute jumps. Well, all was well. And then they came to the point of jumping out. And he actually explains it in the video about all this, that somehow it was quite painful coming out. Something the way the two parachutes there were packed made it almost like he belly flopped on the water, something like that. But anyway, they came down, but it very quickly it started to spin. When he tried to pull open the main chute, it got sort of tangled.
1, 2, 3, let's go.
Wednesday afternoon, hoping you will tune into our show. It's hosted by Cuz. He'll introduce the gang who'll make the show go with a bang.